Want to source Pokemon cards for your business cheaper from eBay? I'm going to tell you how in 3 simple steps. But first, recently I made a video about getting banned from eBay. I suggest you go watch it to prevent the same thing happening to you. But over there I mentioned I'd give some tips on how to buy successfully. So here they are. Number 1, look for auctions where the item is still relatively undervalued, but there's only a couple days left, like 1 to 3 days left. You should probably find a lot of these, and whether it's because they're just not getting a lot of visibility or people are waiting to bid at the last minute, doesn't really matter. What I like to do is look for these and then I'll put an initial bid on it and try to beat the current max bid so I know where the current, actual value is. And obviously wholesale lots or bulk items are going to have less competition because they're just higher value. So the more money you can throw down on these bids, the better. You'll be able to get, better items and win more auctions. And there are also a lot of types of items that you're going to want to avoid buying. I typically stick to ETBs, booster boxes, and then certain types of slabs, but I'm not going to get too into that here. I'll make a completely separate video about what types of items you should actually be looking for. Number 2, bid on tons of these. So 15 to 20, maybe more at a time, at least 15 to 20, because you're going to lose a lot of them. The competition is pretty fierce and people are willing to pay a lot. I've seen over market tons of times that people are bidding on eBay. So you're going to lose majority of these, but if you join enough, you're going to win some of them, and that's kind of all that matters. So you just have to keep bidding, and if it gets over, say, 80%, just let it go. It's not worth your time anymore. Depending on the item, it could be anywhere in that range of 70 to 90%, depending on what the item is. But if it gets over that threshold, just let the item go. Number 3, patience. As I just said, you're going to lose a lot of these auctions. You're going to have to be patient. Whenever you're seeing an item that you might want to bid on, do all your research on it. Look at how many you're selling, what they're selling for, what the current trend of that item is. If it's trending down, and the Pokemon market, so if it's trending down, it might not be something that you want to buy right now, or you might want to, lower that threshold of what you're willing to pay for it. Every item that you buy, you should know what your threshold is of what you're willing to pay for it ahead of time, including shipping and fees and everything. If you don't, then you're easily going to start losing money. So you should know this ahead of time for every item you're bidding on. It really helps to keep a spreadsheet of every item you're bidding on, what the max bid that you're willing to spend is, and maybe even the day that it expires. So you can check it every day and see what you're bidding on and keep track of everything that you're doing. Another tip is just don't be afraid to message sellers and ask for deals. I've had this work a lot of times. So I'll message them and they have, an item up and they have make an offer. I'll message the seller. The more personable you make the interaction, the better. They'll be, more willing to strike a deal with you. So don't be afraid to just message people and try to work out a deal through the message. That's a huge advantage that you have in eBay, is that you could just talk to the seller directly about the item that they're selling. I'm Mickey from the Pika Post. I talk about having recently started my Pokemon business. If this was beneficial, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks.